why my mother named me Freya. I wasn't blonde or blue-eyed at birth, and not a single Viking in my family history that I know of. And as for my father, I never knew him at all. When I asked my mom why she chose that name, she said, "Well, I wanted you to be a strong person who would fight for what you believe in and be able to look out for yourself." In Scandinavian mythology, Freya is an earth goddess of love and war. Flanked by two cats, she carries a sword and sustains balance in the world through her wisdom. The root word means noblewoman, but not necessarily wife. Some experts on the internet pretend that women have never ever been warriors, despite historical figures like Queen Boadicea, Artemisia of Caria, and Joan of Arc, to name just a few. Not that I learned about them in high school. I wasn't a studious child. My mom would say, "Sweetheart, you are so smart. How come you're not doing better in your grades?" I was too afraid to tell her that I just didn't fit in, and I didn't want to call more attention to myself by doing too well. I started college with the vague notion of becoming a fashion designer, and I suppose I might never have even become interested in pop culture if I hadn't developed a crush on my college roommate sophomore year. She had a large collection of graphic novels that she read instead of her sociology textbooks. Things like Nimona the Shapeshifter, a mischievous do-gooder on the wrong side of the law, or the Super Mutant Magic Academy, which grabbed my attention even more than Harry Potter. That roommate dropped out second semester, but by then I was already infatuated with graphic novels. Sari Dior, Mariko Tamiki's sagas of being different while going through adolescence became a belated guiding light. For who knows what maze-like path a life might take, like the quests of many a hero in the world of fantasy literature. My roommate junior year, a political science major, absolutely hated anime. "Those kinds of films are a betrayal of reality," she would say scornfully. "Most politics these days is a betrayal of reality," I would smirk. "That's not funny," she would huff. "You people in the arts don't know anything about how the world really works." I wasn't prepared to argue then, as I could now, that artists reflect our constructed social reality, but also dream for us other ways of being. Because the human need to envision alternate realities seems as insistent as the need for some politicians to tear things apart. So instead, I would just get angry and repeat the catchphrase that artists are the shapers of the world. Nor was there any point in discussing with her someone like Bob Dylan, because even if the times were always changing, and the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind, it was men in suits in closed rooms who would decide which way the wind was blowing, if at all. And wasn't it a man in that song walking down the roads? Anyway, no doubt after leaving his unhappy girlfriend behind. There was a girl in my sci-fi film class who perhaps liked me, but the truth was I didn't realize it until the very end of senior year, despite the fact that we had often sat in different corners of the student lounge watching reruns of Star Trek: The Next Generation on Thursday nights. At graduation practice, I asked her, "How come we never talked or did things together?" "That's easy," she said, "because you never asked me. I didn't even know you were interested." I suddenly remembered a moment from the previous fall. I had started toward the door of this other girl's dorm when she peeked out her head to see if it was still raining. Surprised, she smiled at me in a way that was genuine and shy and sweet. And then she gave me the Star Trek salute. But I was worrying about my next midterm, and I didn't smile back or even say hi. So she turned and closed the door. Then it was too late for me to follow her in. So I suppose, yeah, at the very moment I should have been able boldly to explore the universe, I had my feet too firmly planted on the ground. Earth goddess that I am. Perhaps I thought I didn't have the right to be happy. After I graduated college, I found out that my mom had known since at least middle school that I was attracted to other girls. Why didn't you ever say anything? I asked. Were you embarrassed by me? No, of course not, she said. I knew you were unhappy and lonely. I was, Mom, I blurted out. Yes, she said, but I thought it would be better for me to wait for you to be ready to tell me yourself. Oh, was I wrong? Because I would have understood. Is that why you never married my father? I asked. No, dear, but it is a fair enough question. I've always liked men, too much, perhaps, or there never would have been a you. But your father, he just wasn't a very nice person, and I decided it was better for both you and me if I focused my energy on being a good mother instead of being an unhappy wife. I will never know for sure if things would have been different if my mom and I had talked sooner. Maybe it was my fault for not believing in her as much as she believed in me. After college, I worked as an office temp and then found a very cool job in a resale shop. It had punk and steampunk clothes and retro fashions like the 1920s. And in seeing the customers there, I started to realize that I was not so different after all. For almost 2 years, I just had fun going to work in different styles. The wilder looking, the better. I also started dating some of the women I met there and at a bar I went to on the weekends. Nothing serious, but a step forward all the same. Eventually, I realized it was time I went to grad school and allowed myself to be myself, for real. No more need to dress up to play the part. Not that I expected to be chosen for this revising a dictionary project, and I knew immediately I had to do it. Women should have a stronger say over how languages work, to correct the entrenched hierarchy in syntax and semantics that promulgates the mistaken idea of the natural superiority of men. After all, women are the nurturers and protectors of both their male and female offspring, and potentially we have a more balanced view of what it means to be a human being. My area is semiotics in cinema, that is, how the language of film combines images along with words to tell a story. And I'm particularly fascinated by the way pop culture can reach most everyone, while classic or highbrow literature only reaches some. Pop culture can also serve as a bridge between countries, a form of soft but powerful influence at the grassroots level. Hollywood superhero films, Korean romantic comedies on Netflix, or Japanese web series can be democratizing and humanistic, inspiring us to be more inclusive and open. But they can also be mindless entertainment created to exploit the masses. And if they sometimes do both, can we enjoy them without losing ourselves? I suppose that is the question that anyone might ask when considering getting married. But then, finding the right person is not easy for anyone, because we are all complex and unique and need someone who will celebrate and support our individuality. How else could any relationship work? How else could our world work, with its combinations of the good and the bad, within both ourselves and our cultures? Charting the course takes courage, wisdom, and strength. So what if I developed mine by reading graphic novels and watching anime? I'm just starting to think I have a chance to find my own way. And now, I have 2 cats by my side at night to help me watch the new female warrior captain in Star Trek take the helm.
Wow. Freya, that's probably more than I needed to write you that recommendation for that Harvard Summer Research Grant, but
Not sorry you already recommended me for this dictionary committee too.
no, why would I? You have already traveled light years beyond where I was at your age. Besides, you help keep Rafe on his toes.